Hi, this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and this is Wednesday, July the 18th. This will be our chart lesson for today. Rather than going over all the trades that I saw today, I'm going to do something just slightly different today. I continue to get a lot of questions. I had a trader ask me today, and this is a trader that I know has kind of been following me for a while, and so I'm not picking on you, but it just brought up a good point, so I thought it'd be a great thing to do a lesson on, because I've had some other people ask me this uh, quite a bit lately. But I know if you've watched my videos regularly, you probably, you should have heard me say that your best setups are always going to be, if the market's trending, they're going to be during pullbacks to either the EMA or the trend line or both. A lot of times, like right in here, that's the EMA and a trend line, EMA and a trend line, EMA and a trend line. So when it hits both, it's even better. But when the market's trending, that's where your best setups are going to be. When the market is not trending, your best setups are going to be at support and resistance, and that's what these little lines are, support all the way down through here. And so let me just show you real quickly. Um, I think the question today was, do I always enter only at support and resistance, or actually the question was, do you enter only at the EMA and the trend lines? Well, 90% of the time, that's where your best setup is going to be. So yes, 90% of the time, that's where I'm probably going to be entering. And doesn't mean always, because sometimes the market's not trending like right in here, and you're going to be selling. You can see this was resistance. You can see what happened every time prices got to resistance, and then we had some pretty strong support started coming up across here, and you see what happens every time prices got to support, it bounces. So those are, when the market's choppy, you're looking to buy the lows and sell the highs. And when it's trending, you don't want to buy the breakouts, because look, they don't go very far before they fail. Every now and then you'll get one that'll break out like this and take off, but most of the time they break out and fail like that and come right back, break out and fail, break out and fail, break out and fail. And sometimes they don't come back like here. Do you want to ride this all the way out to check to see if prices are going to come back to here? I don't know about you, but I don't want to do that. It's not worth the risk. So let me just show you real quick. You could have drawn this trend line off these first two lines, and that would have gave you this entry. There's the right off the trend line, and then even if you didn't have it off there, you should have had it by now. Look again, right off the trend line. Look again. This was the first one that failed, that didn't go any higher. But the clue was, look how far this one didn't go very far before it failed. And as you start, each move starts to get smaller, then the risk is getting heavier. So you're better off to wait on a pullback that comes back to the EMA. Now look right here. There's no trend line, but look where the entry is. There's the double bottom right there. So you got support. But the main thing is the EMA is right there. All right, here you go again. Look what happened. The same thing across there. You've got this double bottom, and you've got the EMA, and look where the entry was, the good entry. So, strong support or the EMA, and now you got a trend line here too. Look where this entry was, right off the trend line, right at the EMA, right at the support, and there you go, same thing. Now look what happened when prices started correcting. Remember this support right here we just talked about? Look what happened when you got back there again. That's good for an easy scalp. But now you got a trend line coming down through here too. Look what happened when you got back to the EMA and back to the trend line. Now your prices are getting below the EMA. Look what happened when you got back. There, look at that great trade. Where is it? At the trend line, at the EMA, at the resistance. Now it's resistance and not support. All right, here's support from down here. Look what happened when prices got down here again. They broke below, but they failed, and look what happened. So you need to be looking to buy at support and sell at resistance. And just remember, a slanted trend line is nothing more than a slanted line that has support and resistance. And look what happened when we got back up here to this double top. It sold off. It looks like it's trying to go higher, but we may make a double top and turn down again. So this is where you need to be looking to go short, not long. We're back above the EMA, and we bounced off of it. We're back above this trend line, and so we're probably going to be looking at something like this right here. So you need to be aware in case it bounces off this trend line that you might want to go long right here. But we're more in a trading range type deal now. We're not really trending anymore. Look how we've kind of been in this range since about 10 o'clock today. We've been in this from 64 to about 70, so we're not really trending that much anymore. We're more of a trading range, although I would say the bias is probably still to the upside at this point. But here's your resistance, so the best idea to be looking here is to be selling. There's no real setup yet. If it goes lower right here, you got a double top with a second entry short off this high, but the trend is kind of working up now, so the odds are you need to be waiting to here and thinking about selling this high, or either waiting to see what happens at this trend line in EMA to see if you don't get a buy signal. So just remember that you know, the key is waiting for the key. I guess that's what I'm trying to say is you want to enter at key entry points, and that's going to be during pullbacks in a trend and its support and resistance during a trading range. And on the pullbacks, most of the entries are going to set up either at the trend line or at the EMA. And if you follow those rules, you're going to be a whole lot better trader. And you really probably had another trend line right there, and you see that was the first break, and then you had a couple of legs up. But you really had a kind of a minor trend line right up through here. And so there's, you know, you don't have to get your trend lines exactly right. You can be close and still come up with the same results most of the time. Just make sure you draw your trend lines, and you can see this double top's trying to hold, is trying to spring lower right here. Again, I don't necessarily like this short because you got kind of a temporary trend line coming up, and we did break this little minor trend line, and we did have a bigger double bottom right across here. So there's a chance that you could break lower here and turn in reverse and trap everybody. So this is not a great setup, but you can see why you'd be better off. You don't want to be looking to buy right here, because what happened, prices pull up here and got hung up and are trying to go lower now. And so just keep that in mind, and that's pretty much going to be our chart lesson for today, and that's pretty much the trades, the setups for the trades for today as well. And you know, these are the trades that I took and that I saw during the day, and so these are all our legitimate trades. And I told you why we wanted to enter. And this not only is this this one right here was a pullback to what was the original trend line I had drawn right off those first two lines right down here, and you can see that, and we caught it right there. But this is also a breakout pullback long, and this, we broke above this one and we tried to pull back, and that's kind of what that is before it shot higher. The market was really still pretty strong right in here, but you can see, look how far this move went when we broke out of this stuff, and then look how strong that move was, but it's a little bit less than that one, and then this move was a little bit less than this one. And so that's your clue that it's starting to lose momentum and that we may get a bigger correction. And this is not a huge correction, but it is a huge correction in comparison to what we had going on prior to that. So this is probably more of a typical normal correction, a pullback to the EMA that traps a bunch of people on the short side and then turns up. And all we were doing was really retesting that support right there. And look at there. So the trend's up. That's the first break of a trend line, and you found support right there. That's where you want to be thinking about going long. And then that's all this is just a repeat of this pattern at a little smaller scale. There's your high, your double bottom. We pulled back and tested it right at the EMA. So we not only have the former resistance now acting support, you got the EMA acting support, and then look, we went higher. And then we pulled, when we broke out, we didn't go very far because the market to the upside is starting to wane. And then we've got another breakout and went even higher, and then we've kind of been correcting. And this, I'm thinking this is probably a bigger correction, and we're going to probably retest this high, because you really could have had a trend line right up through there too. And these are probably good enough to be considered trend line breaks, but you need, a lot of times you need a bigger break before it really reverses the market. So anyway, we're about 10 minutes. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Hopefully that helps some of you. Hopefully that answers the question to the gentleman over in Georgia that asked me that question. And Yeah, I do try to enter most of my trades at the key entry points, which are pullbacks to the EMA and trend line in a trend and retest of support and resistance. And even when the market's trending back down here in this correction, look what happened. Every time we hit the support, it bounced. And this, all this is coming across here. You know, we got a little bit lower, but then it bounced. And so a lot of times I'll buy these bounces off here until it's pretty clear that we're definitely, the trend is reversed. But that's just a two-legged correction, and we may make another leg up that was the size of this one. It's hard, you know, it's too early to tell now, but there's a third try to go higher right there, and you can see we still haven't been able to go any higher. And that's why you don't buy breakouts right there. It could break on out and go higher, but the odds are that we're going to end up breaking out and pulling back to this trend line at some point and it holding before we go higher. And I can tell you that the resistance was right across there, and we've closed above it. The last few bars are on it, so it's trying to act as support, but it hasn't really done it yet. So will it go higher? I don't know. My guess is it's going to pull back here first and test this trend line, and if that holds again, then we may go higher. And see, there it comes, just coming back. This is a double top at a lower high than up here, so we could make another leg down like this right here, back down, because we never really came back. Let me show you this. We had this breakout area down here, and you can see it's never been, its prices have never come back and tested it, and it's very rare that prices won't come back and test that pretty quick. So we'll just have to see what happens. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We're over about 12 minutes here. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. Hopefully all that made sense to you. If not, drop me a line. I'll try to answer it for you. I usually try to answer most emails within 48 hours if I don't get inundated with too many emails at one time. But and you can see I was just noticing prices are dropping lower there again, and we're hitting the trend line. Are we going to come on through and this is going to be a new trend, or are we actually going to sell back off here? My guess is we kind of got a quadruple top across here. There's a good chance, but that's why you don't buy breakouts. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.